The diary in the closet. My name is Mike. I'm a senior at Morningside High, and I can't believe I'm almost out of this hellhole. There were many times I didn't think I would make it. Every time I tried to quit, though, my mother reminded me that once I turned 18, I would have to move out and support myself. That didn't mean I had to like it. I was known as the class clown, always joking, pulling pranks, and teasing people. As I got older, fewer people found me funny and more people found me annoying. Even the few friends I had told me I needed to grow up. I didn't care. I liked messing around. The person I liked messing with the most was my English teacher, Ms. Keller. Ms. Keller was an uptight, bitter, old-fashioned spinster who had no business teaching high school students. From day one, she had it out for me, just because I moved my buddy's chair before he sat down and he fell on his ass. It was funny as hell, but she got all uptight and gave me detention. Can you imagine that? Detention as a senior? I sat in her room, bored out of my head while she graded papers. When she told me it was time to go, I ran out of there without acknowledging her at all. The next week, she was at it again. Michael, she called in her shrill, annoying voice. Put your phone away. I have warned you many times. I laughed and moved my phone to my lap. I was in the middle of a game, and I wasn't about to stop now. Michael, do not push me. Put the phone away now. I kept playing my game. Put that phone away now, she shouted, so loudly that everyone in the room stopped what they were doing. Her face was red, and she was breathing heavily. After a moment, she composed herself. Report to the cafeteria Saturday for school-wide detention, she said. I was momentarily stunned, then shrugged and said casually, sorry, can't make it, got plans. I turned to go back to my game, but she frowned and turned away. You can come to detention, or you can get an office referral. It's up to you, she said, lowering her glasses to look at me. I sighed. Fine, whatever. I turned off my phone and shoved it into my pocket. The class slowly went back to normal. I looked at Ms. Keller. She sat with a pinched look on her face, hair pulled tightly into a bun, wearing her brown sweater, white shirt, and brown pants. Geez, even her clothes were boring. She made eye contact with me and held it until a student asked for help. I narrowed my eyes and decided right then that I was going to make her pay for picking on me. I didn't expect much from Saturday detention. At my school, it usually meant wiping tables or hauling trash. When the assistant principal told me to clean the storage room, I was just glad to be away from the noise of the cafeteria. He unlocked the door, told me he would be back at noon, and said the room had better be clean and organized by then. The storage room was located right next to Ms. Keller's classroom, and I realized I might be able to sneak into her room from there. I looked up and saw a vent that connected to her room and smiled. This was going to be good. I looked around, trying to figure out how I was going to do this. The place was a graveyard. Broken globes, dusty yearbooks, boxes of books no one had opened in decades. I found a stepladder and put it on a table that I cleared off. I made it to the vent, but it was nailed in. Cursing, I jumped down and looked for a screwdriver. That's when I saw it. A blue notebook. Its edges chewed up, like it had been waiting for someone to find it. I don't know how I noticed it amid all the junk in the room, but something about that notebook called to me. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. The night the ambulance left our house, I thought it was my fault. If I hadn't screamed at him, maybe Dad wouldn't have done it. I was only 15, but I felt 100. I froze, my throat closed up. I kept reading. The foster family smiled for the neighbors, but locked the fridge at night. I learned how to starve with a smile. I shoved the notebook into my backpack before anyone could see. Any plan I had to crawl through the vent vanished. I felt like I had a bomb in my pocket. I moved junk aside and wiped down the room, but all I wanted was to get home and read that notebook. That night, under my blanket with a flashlight, I devoured every word. The author was a girl. She had been a student at Morningside High. Based on the clues in her writing, I guessed it had been about 25 years ago. She wrote about loneliness so raw it felt like an open wound. She wrote about pain that matched mine too perfectly, as if we had been living parallel lives in different decades. She even talked about the rumor that the world was going to end on January 1st, 2000. She wrote, everyone seems convinced the world is ending, with planes falling from the sky and technology causing chaos. They're all afraid, but not me. Bring it on. I closed my eyes. I could relate. For the first time in years, I didn't feel insane. I didn't feel like my hurt made me some kind of freak. I couldn't fall asleep. I kept coming back to the same question. Why was the notebook in the storage room? It wasn't a school project. It felt personal, like a journal. Who takes a personal journal to school? I realized that if I could find the yearbook from 2000, I could probably figure out who the writer was. The next day at lunch, I pulled out the journal and searched for clues. She mentioned a speech and debate competition. She had terrible eyesight and wrote about breaking her glasses. Her mother freaked out and refused to buy new ones. Since she had a part-time job, she saved what she could and bought them herself. But it took months. After school, I went to the library and sweet-talked the librarian into letting me borrow the yearbook. After all, I can be pretty charming when I want to be. She handed it to me and smiled when I told her she was the best. I turned the pages slowly, afraid and excited at the same time. When I saw her, I didn't need a name or a caption. I just knew. Amanda Keller, Ms. Keller. I looked at her graduation picture. Her thick glasses made it hard to see her eyes, but you could clearly see that she wasn't smiling. She was staring blankly at the camera. I returned the notebook and went home. I went through the motions, but all I could think was about all the misery she grew up with and how I gave her a hard time every day. And I wasn't the only one. Ms. Keller was not a popular teacher. I felt something tighten in my chest when I thought about her life. She was middle-aged and she still looked as unhappy as the girl in the picture. I had to talk to her. But how? I wasn't her favorite person. Every day I sat in class trying to think of a way to tell her I knew, and every day I chickened out. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore, and I went to her class after school. She was sitting there. She didn't see me at first, and I could see the exhaustion in her face. When she turned to me, she put her stern mask back on. "Michael, what can I do for you?" I hesitated, unsure how to bring it up. "Michael?" I set my backpack on a desk and pulled out the notebook. My hands shook as I placed it in front of her. She froze, fingers hovering over a stack of papers. Slowly, she looked up. Her eyes were glassy, like I'd struck something fragile. "Where did you find this?" she asked. "In the storage room," I said. "When I had detention." My voice cracked. Before she could deny it, I added, "It's yours." She swallowed. "Yes, I wrote it in high school." My chest tightened. "It's like you lived my life before me." Her shoulders sagged. I prayed no one would ever read those words. "But why?" I asked. It made me feel less alone. Like maybe I'm not broken beyond fixing. She turned away. "Because those pages belong to a girl who nearly didn't make it. And some days I still don't know how she did." I hesitated, then asked the question that had been gnawing at me. Why was it still here? She managed a sad smile. "That room was my safe place." She told me how she ran away her freshman year, how her mother had regained custody, but nothing had changed. One night she couldn't go back. She wandered until she ended up at school, slipped in during a basketball game, and hid in the main building after it emptied. "That storage room was unlocked," she said. "I slept there until a custodian found me. He didn't report me. The next night, there was an inflatable mattress, sometimes snacks." She brushed her arm, revealing a long scar I pretended not to see. "The journal stayed there because if my mother found it," she said quietly, "there would have been hell to pay. And after you graduated, I hid it and forgot. I assumed it was thrown out years ago." She shook her head. "I can't believe it was right next door all this time." "I won't tell anyone," I said. "Thank you, Michael." We never spoke about it publicly, but after that I came by her room whenever I had free time. We talked like two people trying to piece ourselves back together. I told her about my dad's rages, the nights I slept in my car, my brother giving up on me, the days I wished I could disappear. She didn't flinch. Sometimes she shared pieces of her own life. Her mother's funeral no one attended. The years of pretending she was fine. How loud voices still made her tense. It wasn't pity, it was understanding. I hadn't known how badly I needed that until it existed. One afternoon, while I studied and she graded papers, I asked, "Ms. Keller, are you happy?" She closed her eyes. "I think so." "You don't look happy," I said gently. "Is this the life you fought for?" She met my eyes. "No." "What would make you happy?" "I don't know how to be happy," she admitted. "Then maybe it's time to find out." She nodded. "I think you're right. After I graduated, I joined the military and we lost touch. Years later, I received a message on Facebook. "Hi, Michael. I wanted you to know how much your friendship meant to me. After you graduated, I quit teaching, sold my childhood home, and moved west. I live near the ocean now. I work at a bookstore. I go out with friends. I'm engaged and we're getting married next year. I'd love for you to come if you can. You once asked if I was happy. I wasn't. Watching you begin your life reminded me mine wasn't over. I deserved happiness too. You taught me that. And yes, I'm in therapy. I wish I'd started sooner. I hope you do too. Don't wait 25 years, Michael. Be happy." I reacted with a heart and a thumbs up before realizing she had just handed me her soul. So I wrote back, I'm doing well, and I hope to see you next year. Your notebook changed my life. I promise I'll live the life I fought for, too. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more stories of drama, romance, the supernatural, and thrillers.